Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. This is the beginning of most of our weekends, and I just wanted to take the time out. In the spirit of transparency, I'm running just a little bit late getting on today, but today we're going to be talking about consistency. Late is not, well, no, how does it say? How's the saying go? Delay is not denied. And so today I'm making sure that even though I'm a little bit delayed in doing this live today, most of you all are going to be watching the replay anyway. But consistency is so important. Number one, because people depend on you for consistency. When people can believe in your word, or when you say that you're going to do something, people know when you are a person of your word because it's based on your consistency. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and um, we were just kind of talking about how we have to manage and balance our activities, because many of us, especially business people, have so many things on our plate or platter that sometimes it can be overwhelming. Such as this week. This week was a really, really busy week for me, but it was a good busy. And it's been a long time since I have felt this good busy. But one of the things that helped me to maintain during this week was that I had to maintain consistency. I had to be a person of my word. So, uniformity, as is in the chat, uniformity in consistency and spontaneity is important. Now, I am I have always been known to be a woman of my word. One thing that people can say about me is that if I tell you I'm going to do something, you can depend on me to do it. If I'm not dead, I'm going to do it. But I also make sure that I recognize and operate in the right of first refusal. If I'm unable to do something, then I have learned the value of my no. Now, why is that important for the sake of consistency? Because you have to be, people have to be sure that they can depend on you. Consistency and dependency go hand in hand. When a person know that your word is your bond, when a person know that when you say something, you're going to do it, that is the thing that helps all the way around. And so let me give you an example. I am, thank you, Janaea. I am a person who um, value my word. And I am a very timely person. And so I always schedule myself to be somewhere before the time that I'm supposed to be there. Now, I was having this conversation with my kids yesterday, and they know how I hate to be late. So I will always tell them, hey, now it's not even a mind game that some people play of telling people that they have to be there at a certain time before the time that they have to be there. But I always say to them, we're leaving the house at this time, especially if they're depending on me for a ride, because I always know that consistently my kids are going to always be 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes after the time that I say we're going to leave. But they know that if I say that I want to be somewhere by a certain time, that I am consistent. I am consistently on time, just like some people are consistently late. But that's not my story. So this year, we're talking about strategies and structure in your personal life as in your business life. It's so important that you always have a strategy. You said your daughter laughed because you don't always say yes. I get it, girl. Look, strategy and structure are so important when you're building life and business. because I always say my motto is that I'm empowering leadership in life and business. Anything I say on the business side can be applied to your personal life, because the habits that you form in your personal life always translate over into your business life. So I want to encourage everybody to develop a life of consistency, positive consistency. Be a person of your word. Be a person that people can depend on. These are my 3 points today. You know how to preach, I always say I got 3 points. My first point is be consistent. Be a person that people can depend on. Second, if you're not consistent at this point, develop a strategy for consistency. It's always important to remember that even when you're developing a strategy for something, it takes time to rehearse it. It takes time to develop it. It takes time for you to make sure that this is what's going to work. And if things don't work, we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We determine what worked well, what didn't work well, and then we make the adjustment on those things that did not work well. That's the second point. Develop a strategy for being consistent and dependable. The third thing is always exercise your right of first refusal. The one thing that's a consistency breaker is putting more things on your platter. And yes, I did say platter. Most people say plates. But if you're as busy as I am, no, I'm not busy. I'm committed. If you're as committed as I am to things, sometimes our platter gets a little full. And if the things that you are doing are not serving you well, then you have to be able to say, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm not able to do that at this time. And one of the things that I used to be plagued with, because believe it or not, I used to be a people pleaser. And it wasn't people pleasing to the detriment of me, but it was people pleasing because I've always wanted to see people have a better life. That's why I'm in the business that I'm in. I've always wanted people to have a better life, to do things better, to feel better. So anything that I could do to make somebody else feel better, I was always willing to do it. But sometimes it got to be too much for me because I was so dependable. I was so consistent. And guess what? When you're dependable and consistent, people are going to always ask the person that they know is going to show up for them. So that's why it's important to be able to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that at this time. Or it's important to be able to say, I can't, no. Just be able to say no. No was a hard word for me for many years until I got into a situation where someone was asking me to do something that I really didn't have the capability to do at that time, just because I was busy. I was busy doing my stuff. And the thing that they wanted me to do would not have taken that long, but it would have taken me off of the pattern of my consistency. So I had to tell that person no. And by the time they got through trying to guilt tripping me into doing what they wanted me to do, I was angry. I was frustrated. I was upset. And when I got off the phone, I was crying. I literally was crying. And I heard so clearly, don't be angry with them because you're so consistent, because you're so dependable. And I had to sit down and think about that for a moment. And as I was thinking about it, that's when I discovered people are going to always ask the person that they know is going to show up for them. But guess what? If you can't do it, you just can't do it. And this was probably, I want to say at least probably 12, 13 years ago. And that's when I began to say, and I am going to take credit for this statement because I had never heard anybody say it before I said it. No is a complete sentence. No, period. I put a period at the end of my no because that means that there's no more discussion. And I'm not trying to be mean or evil, but um, you have to respect my no. And when you respect my no, that opens the door for me to give you a yes when I can give you a yes. And so those are my pointers for today. Thank you for, girl, look, thank you for transforming your life to put you first. My whole lives and my year newsletters last year were about self-care. From February, when I started my newsletter, to December was all about self-care. I learned the value of putting my own mask on first after that situation. Because had I stopped what I was doing to do what they needed me to do, then I would not have been able to complete what I needed to do because it would have thrown my momentum off. That's what they tell you on, and you will often hear me say this on my lives. We have to be intentional about putting our own mask on first. Self-care is more than a manicure, a pedicure, a facial, and a massage. It's about taking care of our whole life. It's about taking care of our whole business. And no is part of self-care. And so thank you for engaging with me this morning, Doc. I really appreciate it. We do get frustrated when we don't recognize that no is a complete sentence because other people derail our plans. And so, number one, make sure that you have a strategy make sure that you're consistent. If you don't have consistency, develop a strategy for consistency. Number two, develop the strategy. And then number three, learn the value of your no. I appreciate my engineer because he keeping me on point. So I appreciate you all. If this was of any value to anyone who have heard it, like, share, comment. If you are not yet a subscriber to my newsletter, go to www.rubyepal.com and subscribe to the newsletter. All of my newsletters from 2022 are on my website in the archives. If you need to know how to practice self-care, go back and read some of those old ones. The newsletters for this year on structure and strategy will be uploaded today. Hey, there's Bonnie. Consistency is key. And yes, you are a subscriber. Thank you for being one of my great subscribers. Make sure that you go back and read some of the old archived newsletters, and the new newsletters for 2023 up until the end of March, from January to March, will be uploaded today so that you won't miss out on anything. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being an encourager. Thank you for helping me to do what I do. And thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Ruby E. Powell, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.